Overbidding is basically in the auctions you participate, place a high bid. As I said before, that's like 30 to 50% of the auction total value. And I want my total value to be really high. So I have to be really good at the same time doing ad creatives, at copywriting, at knowing how to sell a product in a specific time of the year to anticipate the season. So like if I have really good ad creatives with really good copywriting and I can match, like I have message market fit, like I can match what people want at that specific moment with my product and I can bid very high. This balance is what really makes me competitive in these auctions.
Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen. I'm your host. Today we've got a very special guest, Manel Gomez, who is a meta ads specialist for e-commerce brands. And with a track record of over 25 million in profitable ad spend for his clients, he's currently managing 300 to 500,000 a month in ad spend, mainly selling in the US and Central Europe. He's frequently attends the Meta headquarters in Europe to have the latest platform features and algorithm updates. And he's an international speaker in conferences like Affiliate World Europe, Ads Accelerator, Mastermind Dubai, and Barcelona, and more. Welcome to the podcast, Manel.
Thank you so much, Arlen. My pleasure to be here and hope to deliver as much value as possible to the people.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for joining us. And I'm excited to talk to you because today's a great topic that you're fully immersed in Facebook. We're going to be talking about hyperscaling Facebook ads for e-commerce growth because Facebook is somewhat of a juggernaut when it comes to advertising, when it comes to reaching people, when it comes to data and analytics and seeing, what people's perception on products and things in general. So it's they're continually growing and evolving. So it's definitely a great area to be in. But before we dive into the topic, I'm really curious about how your journey began as far as getting into e-commerce advertising and specifically with Facebook ads. How did that all begin and how did you happen to get where you are today?
Yeah, quite a long story. So before getting into university, I did 2 years of, in university, I studied economics. So before getting into that, I actually started getting into trading, typical thing where you read a few books, you watch a few movies, you get motivated with trading stocks and stuff like this when you're young. And so let's say I had this passion, let's keep it stored there. And then after the second year of studying economics, I actually changed into studying business, so marketing, business. And it was much, much easier. And this transition into marketing, but keeping the interest for stock trading, economics, markets, money, etc., eventually led me to this combination of marketing knowledge with trading, which the exact Venn diagram type of match was Facebook advertising for e-com brands, right? So that's more or less how I ended up there. The exact point was, I was in university and I was skipping classes to go to the library and be alone reading ebooks. Back in the day, that was a thing, and I was crazy. Yeah. So I was also attending this. There was an app that was called Meetup, and you could go to events in the city, and people were doing events, stuff like this. So,
I'm very familiar.
Yeah. There was one that was called the Facebook Marketing Meetup, and I was going to all of the meetups. So I was like, okay, let's go to this one as well. And I attended there. It was with Patrick Wynn and Chris Erthel, which both became mentors after a few years from going to that event. So I grabbed a beer. I was listening to the guys just talking about the algorithm and Facebook, and you could show ads to people in this way and the machine. And I got so interested that I was like, okay, this is the thing. Because back in the day, it was people were started to talk about email marketing, content marketing, and the fact that you had to do videos. Everything was new. It was amazing. It was, I don't know, like new for me, but 2015, 2016, 2017. And that's more or less how I got there, through Chris, Patrick, and learning from these guys, which were super advanced back in the day. That's it. Then started to develop it, started with lead gen. It was way easier. Then transitioned into e-com info product. And then finally, right before COVID, fully into e-commerce. And I was lucky enough to get some big brands to scale the ads for. And that allowed me to accumulate, a lot of ad spend. And we're here right now.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And so the spark all began at that meetup group.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah. I used to attend quite a few meetups here in the Orlando area.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there is quite a budding tech community here in Orlando. A lot of times when people think of Orlando, Florida, they only think of Disney and that's it. But there is quite a fairly sizable tech community. And, I used to go to meetups all the time and they were packed. I mean, these places would be every month, I think they had it. It was packed out. And It was a lot of tech entrepreneurs, startup founders, people in all aspects of tech. Meetups are a great way to really, connect with people, see what's going on, see what the latest trends are, and they're still pretty hot today. I haven't been to any lately, but you've kind of kind of reminded me. I'm gonna have to look back and see,
Same.
What things I need to get back into for sure. Well, thank you for sharing that your journey there and what brought you here. Now, of course, you're specializing in hyperscaling Facebook ads using what you call manual overbidding.
Yep.
And can you just walk us through what that process looks like and how it's more effective than, traditional scaling methods?
Yeah. So we first have to understand that whenever Facebook shows or Instagram, whenever they show you an ad, 1 millisecond before that happening, there was an auction going on. So an auction where millions or thousands at least of advertisers were competing for that specific placement to deliver one specific ad to that specific user in that specific session. So there's an auction going on there. Okay. And there's a formula for the auction, but long story short, this auction not only takes into account how much you're willing to pay for a purchase, which would be the bid. Like in any auction, like art, watches, and stuff like this, whoever wants to pay more is the one that's going to get the good. In this case, Facebook will take into account whoever is willing to pay more, yes, but also there's something called the estimated action rate, so basically your account history, and also the quality of the ad. So the conclusion is, if I have a really good ad, so let's say it's a winning ad, it's been bringing a good return for the last few weeks, and it's got some engagement, it brings really good CPC, etc. This puts me very up in the auction and I'm safe there. So I'm willing to overbid because through testing and everything, now I know that before let's say I'm bidding at 150, which is very high. I'm willing to pay 150 to just get one sale. That's the signal that I'm telling Facebook. Before I spend the 150, I usually get a sale almost always. So then I was like, okay, this is not so risky if I do it with a proper winning ad. But what is the advantage? I'm pretty much bullying my competitors out of the auction because I rank above them in this auction by telling Facebook artificially, hey, Facebook, look, I'm willing to pay 150 to get one purchase. When in reality, my average CPA in the account, cost per acquisition, is like 40. And even when bidding at 150, I'm still paying 40. But the advantage is that the CPM goes down, I'm bullying my competitors, and it becomes super stable and scalable at the same time. So actually, my biggest ever campaign, like the one where I was able to spend the most, was €500,000 with a ROAS of 372. So more or less like 2 million in revenue just from one campaign, and it had an overbidding cost cap. So I was like, okay, this is the thing.
Yes, that's an interesting strategy. I don't quite think I've heard that before, with this overbidding, what is the risk though that a competitor will jump in there and match your bid or get close to it or outbid you, and then you kind of, driving up the CPM there? Is that possible? Has that happened before
Yeah.
to you?
I mean,
Okay.
I cannot know about it. Like, it's invisible. So
Sure.
only
Yes,
if I could see
exactly.
the ad account of these guys, I could see if they're bidding like at 300. But at the end of the day,
Right.
there must be like a ceiling to it. So overbidding is basically in the auctions you participate, place a high bid. But
Right.
as I said before, that's like 30 to 50% of the auction total value. And I want my total value to be really high. So I have to be really good at the same time at doing ad creatives, at copywriting, at knowing how to sell a product in a specific time of the year to anticipate the season. So like, if I have really good ad creatives with really good copywriting and I can match, like I have message market fit, like I can match what people want at that specific moment with my product, and I can bid very high. This balance is what really makes me competitive in these auctions, because otherwise people would place a bid of 10,000 and game over.
Yes, exactly. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, you would literally be crushed within a matter of minutes.
yeah.
I
But
don't think
honestly,
that's
for the people listening, nobody's doing manual overbidding. Like, I
okay.
know, at least in Europe, I know the top guys. It's very
Yes.
few of them that are doing this manual overbidding. And whenever I teach
Okay.
it in a conference or an event, people don't really know about it. So
Right.
there's an opportunity there until people catch up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, I don't know if that's something that, a lot of people will do. I think it can definitely kind of fly under the radar, so to
Yeah.
speak, for a while, because, unfortunately, one of the things that I always see, and this always comes up in a lot of the discussions that I have when we're talking about marketing tactics. Unfortunately, there's a lot of business owners when we're talking about Facebook ads, and Instagram or any type of social media ads. A lot of business owners that are maybe solopreneurs, they are, they're wearing multiple hats. They've got maybe a small
Yeah.
marketing team. They tend to do have the set it and forget it mindset
Yeah.
when it comes to a lot of these things. And so they're not that attentive to the back end of some of these ad platforms. And
Yeah.
so that's why I can see how that strategy and that tactic is probably going to ride through for quite a while, just because of that factor. Yeah, yeah. We
not do any big conference.
yeah, exactly. So, but that's kind of what I see. Manel, there's a strategy or tactic that I saw in the notes when I was looking at the information you sent over. It's called intraday scaling, and that's based on proven demand patterns. And it sounds like a really powerful tactic. I was wondering if you could share an example of how you implemented that with a particular client and what results were delivered.
Absolutely. So the easiest example is on Black Friday. So essentially, intraday scaling is, I call it wave surfing. It basically means that we analyze the demand patterns. So when do people buy in my store? If the pattern that I can see is that people buy more from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., so in the afternoon, early night, then if 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. is peak demand, I should match that with my daily ad spend. So I want my Facebook ad spend to be the highest from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. That would be common sense. And then if I analyze the breakdown on Facebook and I see that Facebook is spending quite a lot of money in the morning, I'm like, okay, I disagree with this. This is not what I'm looking for. So now I'm gonna manually, manipulate this hourly budget on a day like Black Friday to maximize my ad spend, my hourly ad spend on a day like Black Friday. So
Right.
to give you an example, with this client, we saw the pattern from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. That was peak hours. And in the morning, we would spend more or less $500 an hour, $400 or $500 an hour. I would not be scaling.
Okay.
And then as soon as 2 p.m., 3 p.m. would hit, I would start manually scaling on the hour until I would reach the peak hours, which were 9 p.m., 10 p.m. on the Friday of Black Friday, to reach $5,000 an hour in ad spend. And after the whole day doing that and, going like a 10x on the hour for the ad spend, we ended up on that day at 460 something K revenue. And compared to last year that we did 160K in those 24 hours, it was like huge growth for the brand, partially
Yes.
due to this intraday scaling, but also because we do a really good job with the products and other marketing channels. So that was an example. And then something very useful as well is, can we move this strategy to our evergreen campaigns? Because if we can only do it one day in the year, it's much useless, right? So
exactly.
I thought, okay, what are other demand patterns that we see in the market? So another one would be the salary. So whenever it's payday, people's bank account looks full and there's a higher willingness to spend. In Europe, you can see that really, really clear, because in Europe, the people get their salary just once a month. So it's a big change of having the bank account full on the first days of the month to being super dry towards the end. So, okay, if I see that people get their salary on the first, should I spend more money from the first of the month till the 6th? 100%. And should I try to minimize or not do something really, really crazy towards the end? Yeah, that makes sense. And another one that I saw, I've got the graphs, maybe I can send the graphs later with the whole comparison. Sure. The other one that I saw is, do I have a historical top day of the week? Like, is it possible that on Sundays people buy more? You need a lot of aggregated data to see this pattern, but you can do it on Shopify. You go to Shopify on the left side, you go to analytics, reports, sales over time, and then you do something like, for example, last year, and you would see all the sales of last year. In that case, it's ordered by month. So you have to change this filter, and instead of ordering it by month, you choose by day of the week. And then it's going to give you a graph, a bit complex to explain, but basically these graphs are vertical bars with the days of the week. Each vertical bar is going to be one day of the week. And then you see all of the aggregated Sundays of 2024. They give you the aggregated volume of sales. So if I see all of the Sundays of 2024, $4 million, and all my Tuesdays in 2024, $1 million. Okay, it looks like a pattern. And if it's a pattern that carries through the whole year, then my intention is going to be put on Sundays, but not Sundays the whole day, Sunday 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. So every single Sunday with this brand by around 3. So when I finish lunch, I go to the laptop, push budgets, depending on the Sunday, it's going to be more or less, because if it's a Sunday where people have payday, it's going to be a higher scaling. So you see when everything comes together, or whenever we have to launch a flash campaign, like imagine Labor Day is on the 1st or the 2nd of the month. So if it's beginning of the month, if it's on a Sunday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., then my likelihood of being successful at a risky budget is very, very high. Where if you compare that to a worst case scenario where no salary, no flash campaign, no Sunday, would I sit down on a Tuesday and triple my budget? Not really. So these strategies, you can really take them evergreen. You can take them to flash campaigns, but especially Black Friday.
Yeah, I see that. And you talked a little bit about, of course, the regionality of it. Of course, over there in Europe where you guys get paid once a month and then focusing on that time. And yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I can see how you could apply that. Of course, here in the US, typically payroll cycle here in the US is every 2 weeks. And typically it's on Fridays. I think most paydays for most businesses is on Fridays. So you could correspond your campaigns with that, bi-weekly cycle on Fridays where you kind of push the budget up, knowing that most people have gotten paid. They're more likely to spend. And so, yeah, that's very interesting. I hadn't really thought about coinciding your ad campaigns with, when people typically have more money in their wallets. And 100%. But it makes sense. You definitely have to look at that. Hey, before we jump into the next question, I want to take a quick second to talk about something that's been a game changer for so many business owners, including myself. That's public speaking. If you're running an e-commerce brand, marketing agency, or any business, your ability to communicate clearly and confidently can really make all the difference. Whether you're pitching to investors, speaking at conferences, or even just creating content that connects with your audience. That's exactly why I created speaktoempower.com, a coaching program designed to help you master public speaking without fear. You can start with my free 10-day course where I walk through
essential strategies to overcome nervousness, engage in the audience, and speak with confidence. And if you want to go even deeper, I offer weekly virtual group coaching sessions and one-on-one coaching tailored to your needs. So if you've ever felt like you could be more confident on camera, on stage, or even in day-to-day business conversations, head over to speaktoempower.com and get started for free today. All right, now back to the episode.
Now, one of the things that I'm curious about, and you mentioned when I mentioned in your bio that of course there's always ongoing changes in Meta's algorithm, and you seem to have a direct tie-in there with the Meta offices there in Europe, which is I know a good thing, especially after visiting and talking to the staff there. Are there any trends or upcoming things that you've gleaned from your visits there that can kind of give us some insights as to what's to come or what marketers can prepare for in the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, definitely. For sure, full integration of AI. So we'll get to a point where we're not bidding that much, where we provide one ad creative and Facebook makes infinite amount of ad creatives with AI tailored to your behavior. So that's going to be done through AI, but it's not going to be me making prompts and asking ChatGPT or Sora or anything like this to give me something. It's just I'm going to give Facebook some type of input, and then they're going to do whatever they want. That's going to be, yeah. So loss of control from the advertiser, which is good and bad. We could discuss that.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, good and bad. It makes it easier for the advertiser, but if you're putting everything in the hands of this AI, then you kind of lose control.
Yeah, they're, and is it good that Facebook absolutely eliminates the entry barrier to advertising? I don't know. Like there should be a certain standard and certain level of knowledge, and I don't know. The other big thing is going to be in-platform shopping. Like they have the Instagram checkout right now, which is already a thing. There's this website and shop option on the ad set level. It's developed in the US, but I was in the beta phase of its Instagram checkout like 2.5 years ago. They're stuck. They're stuck. And usually Facebook is not famous for having this first mover advantage. They let other platforms move first, and then they acquire the platform or they just copy that.
Exactly. They're notorious for doing that.
Yeah. So I'm missing this TikTok shop effect when it comes to advertising, because think about it. If we have an integrated purchasing experience, we don't have any issue with cookies. Tracking is perfect. There's no page loading, delays, issues, whatever. So it looks like full of advantages, but it's still not implemented. So it is to be expected over the next 5 years.
Right. Well, it's going to come soon. Yeah, I'm really curious as to what are they going to do? Are they going to acquire something? I just came across a platform, and I'm just wondering if they're kind of positioning themselves for like a Facebook. There's a platform called it's Stan Store or Stan Shop. Are you familiar with that platform?
No, but I'm actually going to save it. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's Stan Store or Stan Shop. The reason I came across it is I often look at the Diary of a CEO podcast with Stephen Bartlett, if you're familiar with that. He got in a joint venture with that particular CEO where he invested heavily in it, and it seems like a platform like that could be something that like a Facebook or another firm will acquire rather than them developing it, in-house. So I can see that. But yeah, they're pretty excited about it. And for me, just looking at it, it's a platform similar to, basically what it is it makes it super easy for creators, e-commerce providers to integrate their shops within just all of these social platforms very easily with really kind of very little effort.
Yeah. And you mentioned affiliate marketing at the beginning, like part of what you're doing, right? So, I mean, how easy does it become for me as a brand to collaborate with a creator when everything is integrated inside of the platform, it becomes super easy.
Yeah.
It's going to grow
Exactly.
much higher. So all of the platforms that are there, and I think the affiliate marketing niche is going to grow so much with these new integrations. It's amazing. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it's all going to be integrated, because that's the thing. Once you have a few of these apps becoming, native to these platforms, then all of the others are going to do the same thing. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Manel, this has been an awesome conversation. I've definitely learned a ton. I know our listeners and viewers have as well. But before we close things out and let you go, I would like to shift gears here just to lighten it up a little bit and let our viewers and listeners know a little bit more about you. If you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think might surprise our audience.
Oh man, that's a good one. Fun fact: even though this is not typical in Spain, I love guns. I love shooting guns. It's like a crazy hobby of mine.
Right.
I know in America, like, that's way more established. Nobody in Spain shoots anything, and
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And I cannot wait every year. Cannot wait for Black Friday to finish to go to Eastern Europe and have like a blast using every type of gun and machinery over there. So passion of mine that might surprise Americans, like being Spanish. And
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, no, and the rest, I would even say lately I'm enjoying a lot more the, consulting side of things and being involved with, like, working with a lot of brands and seeing a lot of volume and different things than specifically just operating, few ad accounts. So yeah, that's also switch there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, thank you.
Facebook.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, like you said, here in the U.S., guns are like very prevalent everywhere, especially where I am here in Florida, and it's interesting. And I've heard, of course, about places like Europe and where you are, where it's it's not that common. You don't see your neighbors and everyone. They're not going to have weapons, so it's a little bit different. But it's definitely a fun activity. I've been to shooting ranges before, and I've kind of done the whole thing. And it's definitely a nice activity.
Teaches you to relax if you want to have precision.
Yes.
Because if you get nervous, like, you don't hit the target at all.
For
so it's pure meditation.
That's the main thing. You have to relax. For sure. Because otherwise, you're going to be all over the target.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Manel. And lastly, before we do let you go, if our listeners or viewers want to reach out to you and pick your brain any more about hyperscaling Facebook ads, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I would say YouTube. I'm uploading 2 videos a week.
Awesome.
Full content. I usually do a Google Docs or an iPad. I take the iPad and I make some design there. So it's not theoretical. It's everything super practical with screenshots. I'd say YouTube. Just Manel Gomez Facebook ads, and they will find the channel.
Well, we'll be sure to have the link to your YouTube channel in our show notes as well as on our site.
Fantastic.
Okay, awesome, Manel. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you coming on the E-commerce Marketing Podcast.
Same. Thank you so much, Arlen.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level, but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.